Hello, everybody, and welcome to the very special WrestleMania weekend edition, part one of the Team Venom Wrestling Podcast. I'm your host, Rory Bailey, joined by my wonderful and delicious co-host, Connor Franks. How are you, man? He's gone silent.
Finally. We're doing a fucking pod again.
We haven't done one since January together.
I know, right? We still pretty sure the last one. We're taking a bit of a break for the new year.
Just,
Fucking quarter way
yeah.
through. Third
That's
of way
why.
through, yeah.
That's why I've done so many. I don't know if you've seen. I've just been throwing old interviews and stuff on this, so there's at least something going out, and I was like, it's
Yeah, man.
fine. But like, I think the one of the you can tell when wrestling's getting good because we sort of stopped doing podcasts. Do you know what I mean? Every time, like when we're enjoying wrestling, it's like we'll chat to each other and we'll message each other about it, and we don't really like to overanalyze stuff because when we overanalyze stuff, that's when we start hating it.
Yeah, because it strips the magic away. But I feel like we need to, at least once in our lives, right? At
Yeah,
least once in this podcast space, we need to be, I want to be consistent. I want
yeah,
this to be the start because just even if it's just for 1 year,
yeah,
one wrestling calendar, mania to mania, yeah.
yeah. That'd be great.
Even if there's like weeks where we just bulk record and they can go out,
Yeah, yeah,
but just consistent wrestling bollocks for a
yeah.
year. And I think this could be a perfect time to bring back something we used to do
Okay.
for the prediction league.
Yeah. We used to
I
do that.
think
I forgot about
if
that.
we're
Yeah,
if we're doing mania to mania consistently,
yeah.
maybe, then
Hopefully.
yeah, then I feel like starting at this mania,
Yep.
finishing into the next mania. There's a prize for the winner at the end.
Okay.
And then yeah, it gives us some to keep note of.
Yeah, man. Well, we'll get right into it for this for the part one of this WrestleMania weekend podcast. And we're saying part one because this is going to cover NXT Stand and Deliver and the Hall of Fame, and we're going to
Yes.
hopefully like get through everything. But we our aim for these podcasts has always been around the half an hour mark, and I don't
But
think that's
also,
enough
if
time to do all of these things.
I was gonna say, but also if we were to just like megapod this shit, we
Yeah,
record multiple times because we take breaks and we're old, we have to piss, that kind of
that's
thing.
true.
Um, we could just smash them all together and literally release a megapod
I think we
to
do
come
both.
back.
We'll have part one out there. We'll have a megapod. It'll be beautiful.
Before we jump into it,
Yeah.
I want to put this out there mostly to you because we haven't spoke about this. I learned it last night at 3 a.m. while having a lactose intolerance poop. Hey
I
guys. Um, Cody Rhodes and Undertaker are in Fortnite.
saw. I
I,
know.
without a shadow of a doubt, the blood in my veins,
Yeah,
hate that fucking game. Okay,
I
I
know.
used to love it and I hate it, but
Yeah,
I will install that bastard. I
I'm
will
getting.
purchase
Yeah,
the Undertaker skin. I don't really care about the Cody Rhodes skin. I will
yeah.
purchase the Undertaker skin and I will delete that game. Is that me falling into mass consumerism? Yes. However,
There'll be a point
if
where we
anything's
enjoy it again, and you can play as the
yeah,
Undertaker at that
if
point. So
if
yeah.
anything's released with Undertaker, I'm buying it because I'm a shill for the dead man. Now,
If you're talking about Fortnite, I got the latest Battle Pass when it came out because of it having the Mortal Kombat tie-ins, and I love Mortal Kombat. You love Mortal Kombat too. No,
I do love Mortal
it's
Kombat.
one of our favorite franchises. We've talked
I
about this on the video game podcast that we do too. But
oh yeah, we do that.
yeah, we do occasionally. But
Very
like
total biscuit there.
it got
We
really
occasionally talk
upsetting
about
that
video games.
well,
I'm about to
it
bleep.
got really upsetting that they went right for this battle pass. We're putting on Mortal Kombat, and it's just Sub Zero, and you have to get to level 100 for him.
Oh,
So I know. I think I'm like level 80, but I've not actually been. I've only when I went onto the main battle royal the other day, I did the thank the bus driver thing, which is what I do in every game, and it came up and said like I
you're
got the
British.
reward for doing 10 out of 10, which means I've had 10 matches in the whole season in like the last 3 months. I've been going on custom games mainly because you can gain XP in them and stuff and just playing
Um,
more enjoyable shit. And
thing is,
I've hardly touched the main game because it pisses me off.
the
But
annoying thing is I wish I liked it, man. I
I
do.
know, same.
I go through phases. Every now and then there'll be a new season that comes out that's nine
It's
times
actually
out of
all right.
ten. Yeah,
Yeah,
well, 9 times out of 10 for me, they've stripped away the bollocks and all the movement shit
yeah,
and all that stuff. Like I know they're going through, they've got a mode going through the seasons again.
yeah,
When that original Marvel season comes back, brother, we're there. Like
yeah, yeah.
we ain't
Absolutely.
leaving that shit,
Yeah.
right? We'll find someone else's fat kid to throw into the storm. Like we'll do, we'll bring back the classics. But
We'll get another member of Team Venom just to upset and make them rage quit.
yeah, yeah, the good old days.
That's what happened whenever we used to group Fortnite. There's still the video
Yeah,
somewhere on the YouTube channel. You guys should check it
yeah,
out.
yeah, yeah. But nah, man, I just can't do it. I'm all about Marvel Rivals.
Yeah,
But you
and
know what? We need to bring back a video game podcast for this reason.
yeah,
We haven't done that pod in just about as long. So one episode, the first episode we ever
yeah.
do of that back, it's just going to be one massive fucking catch up.
Yeah, basically. But
However, wrestling.
WrestleMania.
Da, 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 da.
So, mate,
Roman Ledabot.
so we'll go straight into Stand and Deliver, and I'll be honest, mate, I'm really, really looking forward to Stand and Deliver, and the fucking timing of it this year as
Oh,
well.
4:30 p.m.
It's great. I mean, I'm literally like I think I was saying to you just before the pod started recording. I've got like a mini viewing party. I think there's going to be 8 of us watching Mania this weekend, and I'm just telling them, well, look, just come in the afternoon. We're going to watch NXT, and we're going to go through that. We'll watch. I know. Obviously, the time we're recording, it's Friday. We're a day before WrestleMania, but it's also SmackDown in the Hall of Fame tonight. So tomorrow, when I've got the viewing party on, for any gaps in time, it's going to be either Hall of Fame or SmackDown that we put
Yeah.
on purely because Mania weekend. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to NXT, and I think I've always enjoyed NXT, but I've never consistently watched it because of availability and like the viewing things, and you know how they've had all those different viewing
Yeah,
deals
yeah,
where like, oh yeah, you've got to get BT Sport to watch NXT in the UK. Like, why?
yeah.
And all that sort of stuff, or you've got to wait 6 weeks for it to turn up on the WWE network or whatever the gap was. But with it being on Netflix, and it literally tells me immediately, like in the morning, oh, you haven't watched NXT this week. Like, all right, thanks, Netflix. Appreciate it. So I end up watching it, and I started watching it, and I've become such a fan of frigging Obafemi, who last year I was like, yeah, he's all right. When I think I watched him going after the North American Championship last year, yeah, for a while, and was like, okay, yeah, it's pretty cool. And now it's like, yeah, no, he's great. I can see exactly why he's the NXT champion, and I've just, yeah, I think he's great. And so I'm really
Oh,
looking forward to Stand and Deliver. And also, one of our like favourites, Jordan Grace, is getting the
I know.
NXT Championship match as well.
I
And
know. My wife is helping my mother. My mum has like a small business thing she does, and
yeah,
she's doing like a stall on Saturday, and my wife's helping her. It's like 12 till 4, and she's like, "Do you think I'll be back for 4:30?" I'm like, "Well, if you pack up and hurry, yeah." She went, "Oh my," she was like, "Oh my God, what if Jordan Grace is the first match?" I was like, "I don't know, slap my mother. I don't know, like
I like
make
I
a
like that your
make a
wife is
choice."
helping it.
Oh yeah, yeah. My mum was
It's
like, "Do you
Mania
want
weekend,
out?"
man. Like,
Yeah, no. Oh no, this is the beauty of it. I haven't been this week. I have not been asked to help or do a fucking thing because
other
everyone
than this
knows
podcast.
it's penciled in. It's Mania week. Leave me the fuck alone.
Yeah. Well, like I said, my stepson who lives in Newcastle now is coming all the way from Newcastle to Derbyshire to watch WrestleMania with me and my lad and stuff as well. We've got a couple of local mates coming around as well. It should be really good. And
It's nice as
it's
well. To
Mania
be fair,
weekend.
my stepson is at his dad's this weekend,
Yeah.
so he's back Sunday. But he's gonna, for the first time ever, he's gonna watch Mania Night 2 at least
Ah,
live.
nice.
Um, it's like we've ran down the rules, like just because you're up, you're not pissing about, sort of thing. You're watching it
Yeah.
or you go to bed, sort of, you know.
Yeah.
But I was
Yeah.
like, I said to her, I was like, obviously whatever you do with your dad's, does your dad let you just like binge TV and stuff? He's like, oh yeah. I was like, all right, cool. Sunday morning, wake up, get your breakfast, put WrestleMania Night 1 on, watch
Nice.
that through Sunday, come home, go to bed at your normal time. I'll wake you up before the show starts. We
Hmm.
smash this out.
Yeah,
He's like,
yeah.
can we have snacks? I'm like, son of a bitch, I'm in. Let's do this.
Do you know what Ruben pointed out to me, which is amazing? Sunday's Easter. I'm gonna have fucking Chocolate Mountain for night two.
Oh yeah, I know. Penny has got so much Easter eggs. I think she's one. She can't have them.
That's your
Um,
WrestleMania snack story.
yeah, yeah. But I said to Luke, to my stepson, I'm like, oh, bear in mind he's 9 next month, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, what snacks do you want for Mania? He's like, have you still got the American popcorn you went from? We went to Nashville. I went, yeah. He went, can we have that? Yeah, of course we can. And then he goes, oh, can you make me garlic parmesan wings and some spicy wings? We could throw a pizza in. I was like, are you funding this? I was like, yes, we can, of course, obviously.
We're literally gonna walk around and get some frozen pizzas ready so that I can cook them at like 11 o'clock or whatever, and then we've got
Oh,
pizza
that's
for
what I'm
Mania.
doing. Yeah, we've got like
All the
the I
takeaways
can't
are
remember.
gone by that time, and
Yeah, I
takeaway
can't
pizza's
remember.
just a bit shit, heated up afterwards.
Yeah,
Locally, anyway.
although I will say, anyone who heats up pizza to eat it later, like when
Yeah,
you're a psychopath. Pizza
exactly.
is better cold,
Yeah,
unless it's frozen and then it tastes like weird if it's too
yeah,
cold.
obviously, yeah,
But like if someone orders like a takeaway pizza or a Domino's,
yeah.
and
Oh,
then
Domino's is the king of cold pizzas.
yeah, man.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
we don't.
Especially if it's a meteor or whatever. I mean, with the barbecue base, they're amazing cold,
Oh yeah,
and I like
but we
that. And
digress
that's yeah.
because
I
we've
mean,
been here for like 20 minutes.
Mania.
Mania.
Actually,
We're so
NXT.
excited about WrestleMania weekend. We're not talking about it.
Yeah, we're just talking about what we're going to get up to for it. Like, so let's run through this really quickly. we got 7 matches. We could give a minute to each one of them for Stand and
I mean,
Deliver.
look, in fairness, I've got a free day, right? I know you've got a free day.
Yeah, yeah.
So
We
if
can just keep
this
jumping back on. Yeah,
literally, yeah, we can just it is what it is. We've done a nice little intro. We'll start talking
yeah.
about should we
Little.
yeah, yeah. A,
Fucking
ma-
30-minute
a
intro.
man's little. Should we start talking about the Hall of Fame? Because I feel like we need to give
Sorry,
it
I've got
like
AIDS.
that's fine, I gave you them. So then we can give the rundown to NXT
Yeah, man.
properly.
Have you
Oh
got
well,
the list of the Hall of Fame in front of you?
I don't, but isn't it like only 4 people in a match?
Yes.
I'll get it up now, sorry.
I mean, to
No,
be
no, hold
fair, the
I'll just
list is
search WWE
great.
2K.
It's all right.
Oh,
I've got 'em.
man, 2020. I got it. There we go.
So
Da, da,
yeah.
da. Da, da, da. Ding, 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 ding.
You know,
Oh, I've just seen the Legacy one.
I was about to say, have you seen that? That's literally what I'm ready
Ah,
for to talk about first is legacies.
okay. I'm very happy for the first one.
Yeah. So
Honestly,
we
that's a big step for him and WWE.
yeah. So do you want to go through it? Do you want to run through it, or do you want me to, or how do you want to do this?
Dun, 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 dun. You can run through
Welcome to the Hall of Fame podcast.
it.
Okay, so
Excellent.
right, we've got the legacy inductions. I'm going to mention all three of them because they're all fantastic. We've got Ivan Koloff, Dory Funk Senior, and Kamala going into the Hall of Fame, and all three of them absolutely deserve to be in the
Oh,
in,
100%.
in the Hall of Fame.
All three
And
of them could go in there individually.
yeah,
But I like that they've started doing this legacy thing because it's getting more people in there who deserve to be in there
and
that would
yeah,
miss out if they just did the handful of inductees only.
and I think as well, it's like the Triple H and Nick Khan running the show thing versus Vince running the show because
Yeah.
you still had a lot of politics involved with the Hall of Fame for years, and it's like, oh,
Oh,
such and such
absolutely.
should be in there, but they're not going to put them in because Vince is in control and Vince hates them.
Well,
Hence,
that's it. I mean, look how long it's taken for,
Savage is a prime example.
well, someone who's going in this year. The fact he's only just been
Yeah,
inducted this year because of issues with Vince. Obviously, now that's a non-issue with Triple H being involved, but the fact it's taken to 2025 for this guy to be going now, I'm assuming you know who I mean.
no, I'm assuming you're
It's
talking about Luger.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Like it's mental.
yeah. But like,
I'm
I
I'm
mean,
buzzing that
Triple
that
H was
Kamala's
responsible.
going in there.
Yeah, same man. But it's like Triple H was responsible for Bruno Sammartino getting back on good terms with WWE. And it was
Yes,
Triple H that mended those fences, and we got Sammartino in the Hall of Fame, which is why Koloff is an absolute, rightful Hall of Famer because he's the one who ended Bruno Sammartino's historic 5 year or 7 year reign or however long it was. Was
absolutely. Yeah.
because they only ever say it in days, and my brain doesn't math that quickly. It's like 2,800 odd days or whatever it was that Sammartino held the belt for.
2,803.
Well, I was close. But to be
Yes,
fair, off the top of our head, wrestling knowledge is still quite fairly on point to be only
it
out by
is.
3 days.
It is.
Um, but yeah, so obviously Dory Funk, pretty much all of the like Dory Funk Jr. and Terry Funk and everything. Yeah, the
Is
whole
Terry
all
Funk in
three
there?
Funks. Pardon?
Is Terry Funk in there?
I'm sure Terry Funk's already in there. Yeah, but like all three
Or
Funks
was it
were
Chainsaw
like.
Charlie?
Yeah, well, I might have been, but all three funks were absolutely amazing, and they all contributed massively to the wrestling business. So I think Dory Funk Senior is completely overdue.
Absolutely.
And like I said, Kamala was one of the first people that I saw in wrestling because of the old UK tapes that used to come out from Silvervision, where it was like the Hulk
Yeah.
Hogan Real America tapes, and it was Hogan and Kamala on there and things like that. And because I know when we spoke before, I've mentioned about the Royal Rumble '93 being the first full show that I had on tape, which it was. But I still had like those little Silver Vision releases where it was greatest tag teams, high flyers, and Hulk Hogan Real American was one of them. And we could tell he was a real American because he never lost to a person of color. And
I was about to say something that basically the same thing, but I stopped because of a lawsuit.
well, I'm on about on that tape.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And it was like from 89 or something like that. I think most of the Hogan stuff on there was. So we're okay. And he was such a real American that he also fought the Iraqis at one WrestleMania too. So that was WrestleMania 7.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
7.
yeah.
Yeah, because 8 was Psycho Sid.
America!
Yeah,
Fuck yeah!
8 was Psycho Sid. 9 was the Bret Hart Screwjob Part 1.
Yeah.
Poor Bret got shafted a lot in his WWE run, which I don't think I know that the focus is always on his way out, but he properly got shafted like in the early years too.
He did, but at the same time, the early years were just because of Hogan, and at
Yeah,
that point, that was just like part of the
it was the cash
business.
cow. Yeah, yeah, this was it.
Yeah.
And
Hogan fucked me over. Hey, welcome to the business, brother. Nice to have you.
look at what happened to the Undertaker. Undertaker tombstone Hogan and won the title, undefeated for a year at that point as well. Hogan, oh man, yeah, I think
Oh,
you got my neck there, brother.
you got me there, brother. 6 feet away from the chair. You got me there, brother.
I can't walk properly. I need the ambulance. I need the ambulance from you protecting me. Oh, by the way, you're losing the title in 7 days. That's your first loss. Who
Oh
to?
God.
To Hulk Hogan with his broken neck.
Oh my God. I've just thought, what if we hear that theme song this weekend?
Which one? Hogan's. What
Surely
for El
after
Grande Americano? It comes out managed by Mr. America.
Mr. America. Yeah.
That would be amazing. They should do it. They should absolutely do
If
it.
if they did that and have him be managed by Mr. America, I would be down for it because that's just like shithousery. But I've just got visions of, was it Elimination Chamber where, oh, what was it?
It was
Hogan
just the
came out
Raw,
to
wasn't it, where he came out to the booze
oh, it was the first Raw, wasn't it, on
and he was
Netflix?
advertised for the next Saturday night's main events, and then he's like, "Oh
And
no,
then they just
it's my
went,
son's wedding, so I can't go." Like, you're in all the adverts. You announced the damn show, and you didn't know your son was getting married.
if someone
That
20
sounds
like
like a Hoganism.
if someone 20 years ago went Saturday night's main event will be back in 20 years, and the crowd will be angry to see Hogan, but buzzing their tits off to see Jesse Ventura.
Yeah, I
You'd have
know.
been like, "What fucking dimension are
Yeah,
you
because that
from?"
was the point when Jesse Ventura was doing all this conspiracy theory stuff all the time,
Yeah,
wasn't it?
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, Mania.
Hall of Fame.
I
At least that tangent was wrestling based.
mean, yeah, that's true.
We're getting better.
So, one of the
So yeah,
things that, yeah,
Kamala, Dory Funk, and Ivan Cole up a legacy, all very
and they
deserving.
all deserve it. So I know we're
Absolutely.
like getting off track
Um,
and chuckling with each other and stuff, but
yeah.
we have, I absolutely have the utmost respect for everyone going in the Hall of Fame,
Oh,
and
absolutely.
it's just that we're
Um,
really excitable because it's Radio Weekend.
yeah, we're like absolute children.
It
Um,
is. I've been watching WrestleMania consistently every year, yeah, live since about 1999. No, 2000. 2000 was the first one I watched
yeah.
live because yeah, because 99 I missed. It was the end of 99 when I started watching wrestling again. So 2000, yeah, because I
Rest,
can
for
remember
me,
the
WrestleMania
joys.
24 was the first one I was allowed to stay up and watch.
Yeah,
Like, my mum always bought me the pay-per-views on like Virgin Media box office and stuff, but
yeah.
I always watched them like the day after. But WrestleMania 24 was the first one that I was allowed to stay up and watch the whole thing, which probably, I know it's a great mania and we all know it's one of my favorites. We've had this discussion many times. Probably a good reason it's for that, to be honest.
Yeah.
But the fact, yeah, that I'm still an excitable child, whether I'm 8, 28 or fucking 60,
I mean,
I'm gonna be buzzing.
absolutely. And like one of the things that I love now is that I've got to the age where I can share this enjoyment of WrestleMania weekend with my children. And
Oh,
that's
absolutely.
next level stuff. Like, I mean, my son's been watching wrestling live for a few. My eldest son's been watching stuff live for quite a while now. He's 12. Um, I think the first time I started letting him stay up was during the pandemic when there was the no seat era of WWE, no crowd era, sorry, because that was when it was like, right, you definitely haven't got school tomorrow, mate.
Yeah,
so
might as
you,
well.
so sod it. We'll stay up late and we'll watch that. And I also remember the thing of him falling asleep during the Elimination Chamber when Miz cashed in on Drew, and
Oh,
and he woke up and actually swore at me like that because I was like an excitable child. I was like, Raymond, come on, man, it's happening, it's happening. Like, what's happening? Look at the screen. And he's like, oh, cough, Dad. But then we were sending messages to that same extent to each other at the time.
yeah.
He was like,
Holy shit.
yes,
I know.
miss.
Are you seeing this? I'm seeing this.
When we saw it, like, there was something earlier in the show and where it showed MVP talking to Miz, and we were messaging each other. I was like, I really hope there's some fuckery going on there with Hurt Business and Miz gets the belt. That'll be amazing. And he did.
Yeah.
It's so great. Um,
WrestleMania.
yes, but it's still on topic.
It is.
So
This
the
year in
whole
the Hall of Fame, though, we are getting something new, something that Booker T's not a fan of.
oh,
I'm
okay.
sure. But did you not see what he
I
said
didn't
on
know he
his
wasn't a fan of
podcast?
it. No.
Hilariously, on Booker T's Hall of Fame podcast, um, he said that you shouldn't go in the Hall of Fame for a match. A match shouldn't go in the Hall of Fame. How do you give a ring to a match? Well, a match is in a ring, to be honest. But yeah, he's not a fan of it. Although I guarantee if they put a Booker T match in there, he'd have more than those 2 rings on his finger. Happily
maybe
with a smile.
maybe Booker T versus Triple H, especially the Bill gets in there.
It's just on repeat. Someone like you, someone like you.
That's what's happening.
Or it's just a music video for Adele, and then at that point it comes to Triple H. Uh, but yeah, we are getting a match introduced into the Hall of Fame, which they are dubbing Immortal Moments,
Yeah,
starting with Bret the Hitman Hart versus Stone Cold Steve Austin from WrestleMania 13, which arguably is the catalyst for
yeah.
what really pushed the Attitude Era characters were slowly building just before that,
Yeah,
but
and
that seemed
and
to
it
sort
didn't
of really
officially
push
get
it.
crowned until later that same year, but it was
Yeah,
you
but that
has
definitely was the push.
yeah,
Obviously, the you've got that immortal moment, the blood from a stone, the whole
yeah,
thing of him passing
the
out,
the double turn and
inducted by CM Punk, which is interesting.
Yeah, well, he loves both those guys. They're both his major influences, aren't they? So that makes sense.
Yeah. Also, I feel like WrestleMania 42. I feel like we might get Austin Punk.
Really hope that. But Austin said repeatedly,
Yeah, he's ready. It's
some of the
just
ones he wants, if he was
yeah,
going to come back again, Punk's one of his dream matches. And
yeah.
I think he's
It's
meant. I think he
without
mentioned
sounding
Punk and AJ as another
yeah,
person in
without
one
sounding
interview.
homoerotic. I understand his age,
You would
but
bath everywhere.
yeah, I mean I would, but just more like I understand his age. But if you give Austin like pencil it in, exchange money, like
Yeah,
have it be already penciled in with those guys at Mania 42, night
yeah,
one main event, Stone Cold CM Punk. Give Stone Cold the entire year to train.
yeah.
Please,
You
please,
know what would be amazing
please wear your wrestling
if
gear.
they tease that on the fucking induction. You
Yeah, that
imagine
would be
that
great.
you've got Punk, Brett, and Austin all stood there, and Punk could challenge him outright there and then ask Brett if he wants the referee. Done. That would be amazing. You wouldn't need a
No,
special referee, but
no, because Brett is that fucking petty. He'd go off script and ring the bell immediately.
that would be
It
amazing.
would. Um, but yeah, like I loved when Austin came back against Kevin Owens. Everyone was like, "Oh, it might be a match. It might be a match,"
Do you
but
know?
no one really thought it was gonna be. My only issue is, and I understand again, I understand he's not 38 anymore. Like,
Yeah,
but please, just one last time in a match, wear your gear.
yeah,
No one's expecting you to be. He was never ripped. He was big, but never ripped. No one's expecting him to have like Braun Breaker physique.
yeah, yeah,
But just for that moment, for if that's his final, just I want to see that.
yeah.
Show
So
me them tits.
show me your rattlesnake.
I do want to ask because we can spit lyrical about Bret Hart v Stone Cold at Mania 13. I'm pretty sure if you go through all our archives, we will have done many times.
Yeah,
I don't mind them putting matches in because I feel like um I feel
there
like
are some matches that are
it's a
bigger
good way
than
to
the
do it.
people.
Yeah, but I think there should also be a category in there for just not so much moments that are amazing. So, for example, I don't know, Undertaker v Shawn Michaels at 27, 26,
Yeah,
26.
the Michael's retirement.
Yeah, that'll
Yeah,
go in, right?
Ric
But
Flair
I would
versus
love,
Shawn Michaels should absolutely be in there too.
I should, but I would also, I'd really like to see like your next level matches that have happened go in there. Like Andrade versus Johnny Gargano was a match of the year.
Yeah,
It was incredible. Just not all the time, but just sprinkle them in there because their matches were that fucking good.
yeah, yeah.
Um, but yeah, I don't think we could, like I say, we could probably do a whole fucking podcast of other
Just
matches
talking
that
about
should go in.
matches to go in this shit. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
we'll move on to the group this year,
yes, which
which
is
is natural disasters.
yeah, yeah. I'm very happy with that. I love the national. I look again. I mentioned earlier I had those Silver Vision videos. They for the benefit of the listeners, Liz Connor is holding up a natural disasters art print signed by Typhoon, which is beautiful.
It is.
But yeah, in those early videos that I was talking about, there's a lot of stuff that involved the natural disasters. I remember having their Hasbro figures when they came out, as well as the two of them, and because I used to have loads of those like in the early
Yeah,
'90s, and
the stubby ones.
yeah, yeah, I had loads,
I've
and
still got a in package bushwhacker Luke.
nice. Do you know what I can remember over here, which is something that no one else seems to remember, but it's like it's some form of fever dream. I remember going into a partner's stationery shop,
Yeah,
which then became Ryman's, and I don't even know if it still exists anymore. But I went in there, and they used to have a decent magazine selection. I used to get my X-Men comics from there, and this was about '92 sort of time. I can remember getting a WCW magazine from there that had a Galoob Ric Flair with it, with the belt as part of the magazine. That was the freebie, was it? Like the unposable WCW figures that you could get. Then that was
yeah, he's like that, isn't he? He's like
yeah, yeah, doing
hunched
like the little
over.
hunch. But I got
Yeah,
that with a magazine, and And I've mentioned that to people, like, no, fuck that. Like, no, I remember it. That was the only reason I had that mag. It might not have been a WCW mag. It might have been like one of the other random wrestling mags that used to come out all the time because there was so many. But I digress. Anyway, natural disasters, man. They were awesome. Oh, okay. So for the benefit of the viewers, Connor's found a picture of that WCW mag with Ric Flair on. Okay, yeah, I had that. Brilliant. Thank you, man. You just validated my
Well,
memories.
yeah,
It was not a Mandela effect.
it's not.
Brilliant.
Yeah, man. Natural disasters. I I had a lot of WCW DVDs given videos, sorry, DVDs,
Yeah,
fucking hell, I wish. VHS is given to me when I was a kid, and it had lots of nitros on it.
yeah,
And granted, the gimmick was awful, but John Tenter heel solo.
yeah.
I know he did like the heel stuff with Hogan and
I can remember seeing the Dungeon of Doom stuff, and yeah,
yeah. But John Tenter's run as John Tenter showed how good he was. Granted, it wasn't booked well, but he showed that he was good.
yeah,
And him and Typhoon, man, again, I know it sounds daft, but this is, you will understand this logic because you're like me. The fact they're not in more video games
yeah,
really upsets me. The natural disasters are one of, I think, the most underrated teams in terms of when you think legend teams.
yeah,
I don't think they get mentioned enough for what they were. Granted, yes, I can understand they were very much a success of the time. They were
yeah.
big.
Because they were big dudes, and
They were big dudes.
but they gave the little guys something to bounce off. You know what I mean? So like,
Their bellies.
well, yeah, no, I mean that
Yeah.
genuinely. But like, you used to get those sorts of matches where someone would go for a drop kick and they'd just stumble backwards slightly, but the guy doing the drop kick's done like a full-on flip because they've got enough. They're able to post off the guy and make themselves look better. They were awesome. So like those
I will
matches were actually really good for the time.
only one time tag champs, which is crazy. They not actually been announced who they're going to get inducted by yet. Who do you think?
I hope that whoever does the induction is wearing a Shockmaster helmet and trips up the stage and falls through the podium. Just because, man, that would be amazing.
Um,
Although I don't think they would. I think they'd be a lot more respectful.
right. We'll move. We've got the individuals, the three headliners, quote unquote. But what we're going to do is, I don't know about you, but I need a slash. So let's take a small break, and
Yeah,
then
and you'll just hear
come
some
back to
little
these.
jingle of like, no. Oh, you go for that one. Sorry.
Oh yeah, no, Hall of Fame.
You were doing the old like 90s superstars tune, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Then you had all the little clackers.
Yeah.
Speaking of 90s, one of the most surprising
Nice.
inductees that's
Nice.
definitely worth going in there is someone who I was a massive fan of in the 90s and had a huge impact in on the wrestling business in general. And that's the total package, Lex Luger. And I, I was of the generation that you remember I mentioned the Royal. I mentioned it actually earlier on in this the Royal Rumble '93 tape being one of the things that I had, and that had the unveiling of of the total package and that and stuff. I can't remember what they actually referred to him as, but that whole era of wrestling was they
Was
were
that the
building Luger up.
narcissist
The narcissist, that's it. Yes, and they had him with they had the unveiling of him with the
with the
mirrors and all that
mirror
sort of
and
stuff, and
yeah.
yeah, it was great. So my early experiences with wrestling all involved Lex Luger, and I remember the thing of watching WCW and seeing one of the early WCW things that I saw when it got popular was the War Games match where they had Luger crawling for Sting's help, and it was fake Sting like
Yeah.
that. That's one of my earliest memories as a child of watching WCW because WCW used to be on Channel 5 in the UK randomly, and that's what I saw. I was like, what the hell's going on? Who's this guy with his face like the crow and all? I got all that, It's like,
Yeah.
oh, Lex Luger. Oh, crap. Hogan, no. But yeah, I can remember having Marvel comics of WCW from the 80s, I think it was, in like an annual format, and it was yeah, WCW annual, and it collected all the Marvel comics that they did, and that was a story that involved Lex Luger as world champ as well on there, and it was bizarre. I like my inner child loved Lex Luger, and you know what I mean. That's
Yeah.
and by the time that I got into wrestling, watching wrestling full time again, which is, as I mentioned, about 99, 2000. Obviously, that was the point where things took a negative trajectory for his career, and because WCW got bought out, I only actually had. I used to switch between Raw and Nitro quite regularly, but I only had a good year of doing that before it was bought out and stuff. And because even though I didn't used to flip between them on a Monday night, I used to flip between them on a Friday night because Raw was on Sky Sports One and Nitro was on Bravo at the time on Friday at like the same. I think Raw might have started at 8, and Nitro might have started at 9. So for the first hour, yeah, get the full hour of Raw, and if Raw was starting to bore me, or if I was just just curious to see what was happening on the other side, I'd flick over to Nitro. I can remember watching all sorts of stuff, but Luger was always one of my favourites, so I'm really happy to see him in the Hall of Fame. Really happy. He, and the fact that he's being inducted by DDP, I think, is fantastic because for years, Luger's been at the point where he's not been able to stand unassisted, and he's been in a wheelchair for years. He's been doing the DDP yoga for years, and
Yeah.
DDP should go into the Hall of Fame again because of his rehabilitation of some of these guys. Because
Yeah. For
like what he did for
the
Jake, what he did for
Warrior
Scott,
Award and
yeah, yeah. And what
oh
he's
my
done
God.
for Luger, I mean,
Like
Luger can stand
imagine
again because
how
of it.
I'm gonna say, just imagine that how like as wrestling fans who aren't like the psycho people you see online who,
Yeah,
act like everything. It will genuinely be a nice emotional moment to
yeah,
see Luger standing at the podium.
yeah.
If he can.
If he can, and if he can't, it's still going to
If
be
he
nice to
can,
see him there.
he's there
Do
and
you know
that's
what I mean? It's
important. But
yeah,
if the workers that DDP's put in has got to the point where he can stand, that would be
yeah.
incredible. Also unrelated, but I've just realised what shirt you're wearing. Nice.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's Christian Cage.
Yeah.
You bought me.
I bought you it. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah,
That was in
yeah,
your wrestling goodie bag.
yeah, yeah. Sorry, it's because it's WrestleMania weekend, so basically it's only wrestling shirts this weekend. That's it.
I'm
Even
not
though
gonna
it's
lie.
Easter.
It's 12:22 in the afternoon and I'm still in pajamas. It is what it is.
Ha!
Yeah.
For the benefit of the listener, I've just stood up and revealed that I've only put a wrestling T-shirt
Correct.
on. My trousers aren't trousers; they are indeed pajamas. But yeah,
And
man,
yeah,
Lex Luger. One thing that I want to point out is that people are complaining that Sting isn't inducted him because of that friendship in the late '90s and all that lot. And but DDP's helped him stand, man.
he has,
DDP inducted
and
him
also
absolutely.
I feel like it's not Nick Khan you want to ask questions about that, to be
No,
honest. I
no,
feel like that's probably going to be the underlying issue there is, there's a toy out the pram situation,
yeah.
is what it
Yeah,
is.
with
Whether,
Sting because Sting's under
yeah,
contract to another company and
yeah,
stuff.
exactly.
But we don't know what's privy to that, and I'll be
It could also, Luger could quite honestly have asked for DDP to do it
yeah because of what
because
the
of
impact
how,
DDP's
yeah,
had on his life for the last however many years, and yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
At the end of the day, it's DDP for a reason. I'm sure Luger's happy with it, and that's all that
yeah,
matters.
and yeah, but like, I mean, I'm just having a look at the list of stuff that Luger's done in his career. So he's a two-time WCW World Heavyweight Champion, two-time World TV Champion WCW, five-time and longest reigning NWA/WCW United States Champion, three-time WCW Tag Champ, and co-winner of the '94 Rumble, which was which saw him and Brett both get the title shot at WrestleMania 10. Yeah, WrestleMania 10.
Did he also win a Slammy?
He, yes, he also won a Slammy Award. I can't remember what that Slammy's for, but yeah.
Me either, but I remember the Slammy. I
Fair
remember him
enough.
holding it.
Yeah.
But
So
yeah, so we're happy for Lex.
yeah,
I genuinely enjoy watching the Hall of Fame every year. So it's a nice like a bit of visual decompression.
Yeah.
Before you get to the madness that is now a 2 Night Mania. But
And
then next individual
well,
is
I like that everyone involved is going to be someone that you're going to want to hear stories from
yeah,
in some
absolutely.
way, shape, and form. And do you get? I know. Like, do you want to introduce the next one, or do you want me to introduce it based on what I think you will say?
All right, let's see what you'll say.
Okay, so next individual that lots of people have complained about going into the Hall of Fame, which I disagree with. I think she should absolutely be in there, because she's the wife of the Undertaker, Michelle McCool, two-time women's champion, two-time and first WWE Divas champion, and she's also held a couple of Sammy Awards and stuff. But the thing is, I know from conversations we've had, the era you got into wrestling would have been when Michelle McCool, the wife of the Undertaker and Hall of Fame inductee, is when she was on top of the women's division would have been when you were watching when you first started watching wrestling regularly, because
I
you were
started
ruthless
watching.
aggression era, weren't you? So I
Yeah,
know
so
you've seen lots before, but yeah,
I started sitting and actually watching wrestling very regularly and enjoying it from about 2004. So I was about
yeah.
8 is when I proper got into just non-stop watching it.
So for the women's matches, you will have fond memories of Michelle McCool.
Yeah, so by the time 2005, 6-ish and onwards rolled out, that's when I like wasn't just watching people fight each other.
Yeah,
I understood the stories and everything, and that's where Michelle McCool and everything came in. I think she's incredibly deserving. I think
yeah.
she held down a women's division in a time where there was definite signs of talent among the roster, but there was no signs of it being given a chance.
We had
Um,
the Diva search. We had all those sorts of things that where it
yes,
was they were high. There was a point where I remember as an older fan at the time, I can remember reading online the actual memo that someone had leaked online, and it was that Vince McMahon had told the talent scouts to say don't worry about wrestling talent. Hire us we go after cheerleaders, models, wannabe
yeah,
actresses, all that sort of stuff. So they weren't. And one thing that I can actually remember seeing as well, Maria Kanellis or Maria Bennett now absolutely fell under that category because she was on like reality TV and stuff.
yeah,
I remember watching. I was going out with someone at the time, and she loved a program called Outback Jack, which was this American,
yeah,
sorry, an Australian friggin'
yeah,
in Love Island before Love
yeah,
Island existed. Maria's one of the contestants,
yeah.
and I was like, "What the fuck?" I got completely confused by that because we were watching it on a repeat, and by that point Maria was already in the WWE. So what's going
Yeah.
on like that? So
You
yeah,
remember Maria had the theme by Zebrahead, and it was like very 2004 pop punk, but she had it in like 2008. It was
yeah,
like, here she comes again, I could never stand.
yes,
Yeah.
very.
No.
It reminded me of Bowling Pursuit.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
But
but
no, I
anyway,
think
Michelle McCool, man, like
yeah, I think she's well deserving. I think there's gonna be a touch wood, fingers crossed. I would love there to be a point where we get Cool back for
yeah,
one tag team run, win it, defend it 2 or 3 times, lose it, bow out.
yeah.
Would be perfect. I think.
Yeah, because they were the they were the first proper women's tag team.
Yeah,
So yeah,
absolutely. I think. I think people like Michelle McCool, like Victoria, not so much Mickey James because she went and did things elsewhere
yeah,
consecutively. Same with like your Gail Kim. Melina, I know again backstage heat, but we're talking like what they were doing in the ring,
yeah.
not with it.
Not
And
Batista.
yeah, um, I think a lot of the things get overshadowed by small-minded fans, which
Yeah,
there appears to be more and more of those. Anytime I open a social media app,
man.
that
I
it
just
get that
yeah,
it gets overshadowed by the how the women were portrayed at the time. Now you
yeah,
got to think these were women who went out there on a major pay-per-view, if they were lucky enough to be on it, and go, right, here's your title match, you've got 4 minutes including entrances.
And at the same time, the other women's matches that would get more airtime was bra and panties matches,
Bar and
pudding bowl
Panties match,
matches,
yeah,
nightgown
exactly.
matches, all that
Yes.
sort of stuff. Because there was like there wasn't the mindset that there is now. Like for example, when we get to talking about NXT, I'm pretty sure the pair of us are going to completely agree on the fact that the NXT women's division is absolutely amazing, and I've probably been watching that more. I'm probably more up on the women's division than I am the men's division on NXT
Oh, right
because
now the NXT women's division is the best women's division in wrestling, in my opinion.
yeah,
Anyway,
yeah, absolutely.
but yeah,
And that's the thing. We're at a point where you can watch NXT and you can like. There was an episode the other week which started with a women's match. There was a brief men's match, another women's match, women's promo, backstage stuff with Becca and Ava chatting away. We got a juggernaut promo for Jordan Grace. And you got another women's match, and it was like, but you don't notice now
you don't bat an
because
eye.
no,
It's
because
part. It's
that's
just
how
there.
it's gotten
Yeah,
on there, which is great. And like Raw, for example, Rhea Ripley has been one of the biggest stars on Raw for years. And Liv Morgan's been like one of the best heels of the last year. You had the thing of Becky Lynch when she smashed barriers and got to the main event of WrestleMania and all that sort of stuff, and because of fan support. And yeah, the women's wrestling is completely different now to what it was in Michelle McCool's time. And Michelle McCool was one of the ones that didn't want to be viewed as like the eye candy sort of
yeah,
thing. Michelle McCool was one of the ones who put the work in, had some fantastic matches and stuff, and you could tell that by the fact that I know she only held the women's championships in total 4 times, like two WWE women's, two Divas ones, but they were lengthy reigns.
yeah.
And there was points where, like, there was the point where Lakel was the co-women's champion, and
It
they
was a
snapped the
split in
belt.
half.
Yeah, yeah, with the comical split in the middle as well. But
Yeah, the fucking zigzag, the perfect.
yeah, yeah, but that went on for absolutely ages, and it was great. And
Yeah,
she had loads of decent runs, and yeah, I think I absolutely would champion Michelle McCool going into the Hall of Fame. I think it's well deserved. The fact that we've already got Trish and Lita in there from the and China. I know China was via the DX induction, but it was also posthumous as well. So it's like you can't.
Tori Wilson, Stacy
Tori,
Keibler, Jacqueline in it?
yeah, I'd like to think Jacqueline would be there, but like
Molly Holly's in it.
yeah, Molly Holly is.
Yeah,
But like you got, like you say, Tori Wilson and Stacey Keibler going in there. Tori Wilson were the generation that overlapped. Tori Wilson and Stacey Keibler were the generation that overlapped into the beginning of Michelle McCool's career.
yeah,
And I think Mickey James should absolutely be going into the Hall of Fame at some point. I'd assume next year, now that she's involved with LFG and all that sort of stuff.
yeah, yeah.
I think that's sort of an impending induction. And
I would say I'd
Mickey
say the
James
same for
and
Victoria.
yeah, Victoria should definitely be in there as well. Um, yeah, they, they were all the ones that were having great matches is with what they could do
When
with
they weren't
with
meant
the
to.
limited time. Yeah, and
Yeah,
yeah, again, yeah, I just I'm very happy she's going into the Hall of Fame. It's
yeah,
great. And this year's Hall of Fame class is just like yeah, no faults whatsoever. I think it's all great. I think they all deserve to be in there. It's awesome. And I know lots of people have complained about the main guy going into
which is
the Hall of Fame, which
ridiculous.
is silly. Um, because obviously the first name that went out there for the Hall of Fame was Triple H, and they did that really awesome induction thing where they genuinely caught him off guard,
Yeah,
and you can tell by the look on his face that he has no idea why Shawn Michaels is going out there on that press day that they were having. Yeah, and that Nick Khan's like got the massive like shit-eating
shitty sin
grin,
grain. Yeah.
like, yeah, because he's like he knows what's happening.
Oh, of
And
course.
according to the Undertaker on his podcast, it was Undertaker, Shawn, and Nick Khan that knew about it. Stephanie didn't even know.
Yeah.
So, and I
It's
like that they did it that way.
oh,
I think
me
that's the
too.
perfect way to do it.
There's no argument that can be made, in my opinion, for him not going in.
Yeah,
There is very few people in wrestling in general that have done what he's done in the ring.
yeah,
Take
and
away the OO and all that, head of
Yeah.
this, head of that. We're talking about Triple H, not Paul Levesque.
And Paul
Triple
Levesque
H.
and his work behind the scenes should go in the Hall of Fame
Oh,
too. Like,
100%.
you know what I mean?
But
That's
Triple
the
H,
thing.
we don't even really need to spend lots of time talking about it because first ballot Hall of Famer, the fact
Hmm.
he didn't get put in there the second he came out at that mania and left his boots in the ring.
Yeah,
He should have been the number one fucking person straight after that.
yeah,
Um, I do agree that they should stop wrestling. Like they should go into the Hall of Fame when it's retirement. So like, it kind of bugs me a
yeah.
little that Ray
The
comes out and
Ray.
it's like, but he's in the Hall of Fame, and then when Edge was oh,
I,
I couldn't accept
I
Edge
think
actually because he came
Edge
back from the injury.
and Goldberg as well to a degree. Like Goldberg, I think was an exception because everyone had assumed he'd retired, and then he started a new run a few years
Yeah,
after his Hall of Fame
yeah,
thing.
yeah,
So I can sort of see why that would happen.
yeah. But I
Um,
think I think Triple H, there's no denying it. There's probably going to be a good amount of Triple H moment matches going in the Hall of Fame in the future as well.
yeah, yeah. I mean, Triple
Um,
H, Undertaker with Shawn Michaels as referee in that Hell in a Cell at Mania, that should go in.
Evolution will be in there.
Triple H versus Cactus Jack.
Yeah,
Either of any of the Triple H Cactus, or like there's the three big ones, isn't there? There's the debut of Cactus Jack in '97 with the Falls Count Anywhere match, which was fucking awesome. There's the Royal Rumble Street Fight, which was fucking awesome. There's the the Hell in a Cell match at No Way Out that followed the Street Fight, which
fucking
ended
awesome.
Mick Foley's career full time. I know they brought him back for the WrestleMania main event, which absolutely right call to do that. But it was a one and done because he was retired. And yeah,
Triple H
but
versus D'Lo Brown in a
in the
blindfold match.
blindfold match, yeah, that was such a good match. Still,
Brilliant.
still a bit jelly that you got to speak to D'Lo about that.
When he was working for another company as well.
Yeah, I
Oh,
know.
one more question, D'Lo.
When we got that list of like, because I was working, wasn't I? So I couldn't do the call. This is, dear listeners, we're going back by many, many years.
We're
We
going
had
about 4 years
an
back.
interview. It might have been more than that, man. Probably about six.
Oh shit, no, D'Lo was my first interview.
Yeah, that was like the third episode of a podcast that you were involved with, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. That was
No
before
wonder
we had.
people hated me.
Yeah, no, yeah. Dave did not appreciate that. I didn't ask him about dealer. That genuinely, I literally had a conversation of going, look, I'm at work. We should definitely let the new guy have the interview because it's something nice straight away. It's like a thing of go, look, we can get this stuff. Here you go. Like
Yeah.
that. So you got that D'Lo interview, and yeah, so I was stuck at work. And there was that whole long list of stuff to not say. Can you remember my message about that? I was like, oh yeah, DNA have said avoid this, and this, but don't worry about it.
Yeah, because I remember I was like, I'm not, I'm going to ask him about the blindfold match.
We literally, yeah, just they're okay if we ignore stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, I got big props from TNA after that interview. Thank
He
you.
did, yeah, it was really
Yeah.
good. Yeah. But yeah. But yeah, anyway, Triple H absolutely should be in the Hall of Fame. I love the fact that he's going in there. I think one point that I'd like to make to the people that are complaining is
Shut up.
there's a hell of a lot of guys in the Hall of Fame already that absolutely deserve to be in there that have gone in there ahead of Triple H and shouldn't have gone in there ahead of Triple H based on body of work.
With
And
all
you
due,
can,
I understand the logic behind why he went in
yeah,
because of what it was. But we're living in a world where you're complaining about Triple H going into the Hall of Fame, yet Titus O'Neil went in before him.
yeah, well, yeah,
I
there's that.
I love Titus and I understand the sheer amount he's done for charity, and that was the hurrah, hurrah, hurrah. And that was the whole that he went in for the Legacy Award and that sort of thing. But still, someone of Titus O'Neil's in-ring caliber
Yeah,
went in before Triple H.
exactly. And
It's
and this,
crazy.
but there's really top tier Hall of Famers that went in before him. Like, for example, Edge. I
Yeah,
loved Edge. I think Edge absolutely deserved to go in there. 11-time world champ, I think he was at the time.
everything. Yeah,
Yeah, all the tag division, all that. Edge
100.
started in the WWE 2 years after Triple H did. When Edge won his first tag team championships, Triple H was the world champion. And just using that frame of logic, and the 14 times that Triple H has, or is it 15 now? However many times Triple H has won the World Championship, like using that logic that he's in double digits for title reigns and stuff. There's so many people that he edges out, no pun intended. But like Edge, Batista, for example, I know Batista isn't in there yet, but he was going to, and then the pandemic caused it to not happen. Batista absolutely deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Absolutely, 100%. And he would have had an induction before Triple H if everything had gone to plan, which is still, fine because Triple H didn't. Triple H was still actively wrestling. Triple H has had one of the longest and most consistently good careers.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? He didn't he retired because he had to because of a medical condition, but he hadn't lost a step. He hadn't got to that
No.
point where it's like you've got to retire because you don't look the way you used to. He still looks like if he decided, right, I'm going to get in the ring and beat the crap out of Cody Rhodes, who's at Mania in the main event. Yeah,
Yeah.
fine. I'd absolutely, he's still got that physique and that aura about him.
That's 100%.
And the amount of people, and again, I don't mean this as any disrespect to Edge or Batista or Rey Mysterio as well. I mean, Rey Mysterio has the thing of all of ECW and WCW before WWE, but I'd still say Triple H has a more Hall of Fame career in terms of consistent main events and again, not shitting on those other people because they all absolutely deserve to be in there. It's just
But
that,
also, out of everybody, there's one thing he has that every single individual in the Hall of Fame doesn't.
yeah,
Every single individual. They never put in an Oscar-worthy performance in Blade Trinity.
that is true. They never got to talk to Ryan Reynolds, who was acting as a pre-Deadpool little about wieners.
Exactly. But yeah, well deserved to go in. Literally through both. Essentially, I know you started watching slightly before me, but Triple H is a man who's literally being covered through the entire of me watching wrestling and most of you watching it.
Yeah.
So well worthy. But Mania weekend, NXT Stand and Deliver.
Yeah, we finally got around to that part of the podcast.
We have
some hour and a half into a recording.
We have 7 matches, including a pre-match, but we will be including the pre-match because it's.
I don't count them as a pre-match now because it's all on for us in the UK at least. It's all on in one place anyway. So yeah.
So got my notepad for
predictions.
Yes. So the pre-match.
This ties into what we were just saying when we were talking about Michelle McCool. The pre-match is going to be great. So you
can tag team elimination match to determine the number one contender for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship.
The fact that we could have 8 women and all of them could absolutely win this shows how good the NXT Women's division is.
I mean, there's 7 matches, like I say, including the pre-match of this, yeah?
Yeah.
And in that, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18 women are on this match card.
Yeah.
That's, if that's not a step where the NXT Women's Division is, I don't know what is. So we have Metaphor, Lashley and Jakara Jackson, versus Fallon Henley and Jacy Jane, versus Tatum Paxley, G. Dolan, versus Roxanne Perez and Cora Jade. I am going to go straight out and say I'm going to go for Metaphor. I feel like the obvious choice is Roxanne Perez and Cora Jade. But
I think Roxanne Perez is going to Raw or SmackDown after Mania. That's got to happen.
Yeah, exactly. So
they put her in the Elimination Chamber and she looked like she should be in the Elimination Chamber. You know what I mean?
So for me, Metaphor is who I'm going with for this.
Okay.
I could see all of them except Perez and Jade because, like I say,
because
unless Perez and Jade are going up together, unless they're going up together as a tag team,
because they could go straight. If Liv and Raquel retain, the night after Raw, they could have a mystery tag team opponent.
Yeah,
and book that, Hunter. give them the tag titles the night after Mania, or give them the WWE main roster tag titles night after Mania on Raw. Do it. We dare you. Yeah.
No, give it to Metaphor because then I win the point.
Okay, I'm going to give it to you know who I'd like to see win, and this is purely because I am actually a decent fan of it. I
Paxley,
want to see
Gigi.
Tatum Paxley and
Yeah,
Gigi Dolan win. Yeah, I like Gigi,
yeah, me too.
and I think yeah, definitely. I think they could be a real. I think well, I think any team could win, like you said. That's the beauty of NXT's women division at the moment. So
Yeah,
yeah,
awesome.
It's-
Next, I'm going by the Wikipedia match card. We don't actually know what
yeah,
order will be, but it's easier to just go from this. Ladder match for the
this
vacant
is going to be
NXT
so good.
Women's North American Championship. Zarya versus Kalani Jordan versus Sol Ruka versus Izzy Dame versus Lola Vice versus the retaining Thea Hale, who returned with Eddie Edwards' old TNA theme.
Yes.
Genuinely,
Do you know
straight up
what?
the actual theme.
I know.
Yeah, I heard it and I'm like,
I
wait a
was like,
fucking minute.
I
Eddie
know.
Edwards
I
is it?
thought
Eddie
I
Edwards wants the
know.
NXT Women's North
I
American
thought he was going to
Championship.
introduce Alicia. So, yeah. Oh man. You know the only downside about that ladder match is I don't get why they did the double title. Well, actually, no.
It,
I'm
it,
actually the cogs are turning while I'm saying this. I was
yeah,
going to say,
the injury wasn't as bad as they thought it was,
yeah,
basically.
there's that, but also maybe it was the thing of they wanted Vaca to go all the way to the top and not take any big losses until that point, and therefore her NXT title run could have originally been planned for months away, or could have been a stand and deliver match that's won, and the North American Championship's been vacated so that she doesn't have to have that loss.
Yeah.
So I guess that's it. I was about to moan about it, yeah, but I can actually see why. So, yeah. But in that, I'm literally picking a name out of a hat, sort of thing, because I just any of them could win it. All of
So
them could win it. Do you know what I mean? It's
I am going for Thea Hale, right?
okay.
Purely because
The
since
return.
no, not even that, but since Chase U disbanded, they got rid of Duke Hudson.
Yeah,
Um, Chase, what's his face, has essentially been nothing. Thea Hale went off the grid. The fact that she's returning shows that they see something in her and they want to do something with her. I
yeah,
think this is a perfect time. You've got Zarya and Sol Ruka in there, who are a team / alliance. I think we're gonna see something like Zarya climbing the ladder and Ruka's gonna hit a Soul Snatcher.
yeah,
Not necessarily a heel turn because I think it's just that every man for himself. Sol Ruka's gonna stop Zarya and then Zarya is going to turn heel, destroy Sol Ruka like later on down the line in NXT, probably an episode or two after, and then we get a big Zarya push, which
yeah,
is cool. Kelani Jordan, I wouldn't, this is another one where anyone could win, but for
yeah.
me, I am going to go with Thea Hale because I feel like this Thea Hale winning this is it's like when oh shit, what's her name? Um,
I don't know,
she
man.
she got she got released, but she won the women's title, NXT women's title, and then got injured.
um,
Uh she was in the way with Candice
oh,
LeRae.
Candice LeRae, yeah.
Not her, the other one. She was with it.
Okay.
There was Candice LeRae and the other one. Oh, it's gonna drive me nuts.
Don't worry about
Honestly,
it.
I
Well, I'm
can't.
going to say Kalani Jordan just so that we're different, but I think Thea Hale is absolutely probably going to win. So I'll go with Kalani Jordan just so that we've got a difference
Indy
on it.
Hartwell.
Indy Hartwell, of course. Sorry.
Yes. Yep. So
Yeah,
you're going. Who are you going? Sorry, Kalani
Kalani
Jordan.
Jordan. Just so that we're not picking the same person.
I
Which
think we're picking the same person for the next one.
I don't know. I don't know.
Kalani.
I think we're going to have opposing views on the next one, possibly. I don't know.
Okay, well, the next one is the Fatal 4-Way for the NXT Women's Championship. Stephanie Vaquer, champion, defending as Julia, Jada Parker, and Jordan Grace.
Yeah, I can see any of them winning.
I can see all of them winning.
I
But there is one that I am not willing to put my head in front of my heart.
yeah, I know. I want Jordan to win. I want
Yes.
Jordan to win it, but I also want Jordan to get called up to the main roster on Raw or the night after Mania. So what do we do? Do you know what I mean?
I would. Thing is,
I think if
the
Stephanie
women's
Baker leaves,
the
she's
main
going
of
to Raw.
the main event women's division is always a bit dodgy just after Mania
Yeah,
because there's a lot of rematches and stuff. So what I would like is Jordan Grace wins this, has a lengthy title run,
yeah,
loses closer to Survivor Series, and is called up to be a surprise part of a women's War Games match.
that'd be cool. Yeah, yeah.
That's how she comes up.
Okay.
That's how I would do
Whereas
it.
how I would like, in fact, I wouldn't even put her on Raw. I'd put her on SmackDown. So
Superstars.
SmackDown, Tiffy look like again. A spoiler for Mania if this happens. I can see Tiffy losing to Charlotte. Charlotte Flair coming out on SmackDown because big money contract to get her back or whatever. I can see Charlotte coming out on SmackDown with the women's championship, saying that she's beat everyone there is to beat. There's no one, doing that whole spiel of, oh yeah, there's no one really that offers a challenge to me in the roster. All this Juggernaut comes out, bam, new women's champ. I'd
Yeah,
love that.
I'd love that too, but they're not going to let Charlotte drop it after like 4 weeks. That's just not going to happen.
No, I mean like 1 week, like that.
Yeah,
Literally, the
that's not going to
SmackDown after
happen.
Mania, just
Remember who her
done.
dad is, and
I
remember
know.
who's in charge of the stories.
Yeah,
It's
but the
not going
point
to
is, if that means that Charlotte's ever so closer to beating her dad's record.
Yeah, it's no. So who are you picking for this fatal four-way?
Stephanie Booker,
You think
unless she's going to the main roster. I think if she loses, she's going to the main roster because
she's walking in and out as champion?
yeah, because I want Jordan to get called up.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
That's but I
um,
could see I could see Booker, Julia, or Grace, or even Parker winning because Jada Parker's that level of this would make her. Do you know what I
yeah,
mean? This would make her at that division. The other three are absolutely three of the best women's wrestlers in the world at the moment,
yeah.
hands down. You could put any of them on the Raw after Mania or SmackDown after Mania and make the women's championship on Raw and SmackDown look a lot more. You can take their feuds to the next level by putting someone from this match in there. Aside from maybe Jada Parker, because Jada Parker hasn't won any titles yet in WWE. So yeah, I'm going to go with
Uh,
that.
yeah. So then next we have Fraxium defending the tag team championships against Hank Walker and Tank Ledger. I'm gonna go for Hank and Tank because I think we're getting
Okay.
Fraxium called up. I think
Well,
that's just
yeah,
it.
because Nathan Frazier was on SmackDown against Phoenix the
Yeah,
other week, wasn't he?
I think
But
Fraxium have been champion for that long and
I'm going to
been.
pick. Well,
I think they're
I'm
gonna
going to go opposite. Yeah, I'm going to pick Fraxium because they gave them multiple wins over the Hardys in both NXT and TNA, and I think they should capitalize on that and then just losing in a standard match. If it was a ladder match, a multiple man match, the whole protective booking thing, I could see
yeah.
them losing, but I can't see them losing this, or I don't want to see them losing this. Like that, that's more like it. So I think they're gonna be retaining. So we've got someone different for each match so far.
Ricky Saints defends the NXT North American Championship against Ethan Page. I
Saints is
think
Saints
I
is
think it's
keeping
got
it.
to be Saints. He's not been champ long enough, really.
There's a lot we could say about both, but and we could justify both of them. But I think Saints, after how short Sean Spears' title reign was and stuff, Saints has got to have a decent lengthy one, unless he's getting called up.
Yes.
So
I think
and
this is
even
going to
Page, I could see getting called up straight away as well. So
I could see this being both going for this. The D'Angelo family versus Dark State. I think it's got to be Dark State.
yep,
So
there we
they've
go.
just
It's
yeah
just
they've just debuted. You can't really you can't
they've got to learn from the Nexus
yeah you
debacle,
can't
and
and Retribution. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Right.
agreed.
Oba,
Main
Oba,
event.
Obafemi defends the NXT Championship against Trick Williams and Javon Evans.
Love this matchup. I
Me
really
too.
do. Like, I think the only person that it definitely isn't winning that is Trick.
I think Trick is will winning it.
Oh,
I think. we're gonna get some kind of. I think we're gonna get a reveal that Trick Williams is the leader of Dark State.
Which could happen. Yeah, yeah.
I think that's what because
Oh, they could run in and cost. Yeah, okay, yeah, fine.
because yeah,
I,
because
I can see where you're going.
Trick has slowly been getting angrier and more heel cracks really in his
Especially
promos, especially with
with
Javon.
Javon. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Although I will say, Javon Trick and Obafemi is like a Pokemon evolution.
It really is.
Yeah.
But I
But I
could see
think,
Oba losing it to go to the main roster again because he's
yeah, I think
just got star
Obafemi's
power.
100% going up, right? But I
Yeah,
think what we're going to get is, let's say towards the end of the match, Trick Williams and Javon do some a team move that takes Oba out.
yeah,
Some massive thing, maybe through an announce table or through something that wipes Oba out for the last 5 minutes of the match.
yeah,
And then I think Javon is going to be just on the cusp. Maybe hits the OG cutter
yeah.
and then Dark State.
Okay, I absolutely want to see that happening. How you've gone for it, but I'm gonna
There isn't a person in this match who I'd be sad walking out as champion.
yeah, yeah.
But I
Okay,
think we've had whoop that trick for so long.
I know,
Um,
but because of the whoop that trick thing, and see what I was thinking, completely contrast to your dark state theory, but I like that more. I was thinking Trick's the next call up. Trick or
Possibly.
Obafemi. Trick
I
could
think
be on
that's all right.
SmackDown and just go straight after Carmelo. We can give Carmelo something to do. Do you know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
could see that happening. I'd like to see Javon win purely because it's someone fresh and he's been being
Is he?
built up for months. I think that'd be great.
Is that your
So
pick?
yeah, Javon's my pick. And I'd like to see Oba. In fact, I'd like to see Oba stay in NXT but go to TNA and take Moose's X Division Championship because that would just be hilarious. But
That'd be funny.
anyway, that's we've done it. We've done Hall of Fame. We've covered the Hall of Fame. We've covered NXT Stand and Deliver, man. So
Up.
let's wrap this up. Thank you for being here. Thank you everyone for listening. And if you were listening to the Mega podcast, you've probably got another hour of us waffling. So thank you for sticking around for that too. And we'll see everyone else in part two, which is the WrestleMania podcast.